European police officers patrol the streets. Spanish flags wave above government buildings. Children walk into Spanish schools. Cafes accept euros. Road signs are written entirely in Spanish. Everything about this place feels unmistakably European, except for one small detail. None of this is happening in Europe. It's happening in Africa. Along Morocco's northern coastline, see two cities that legally belong to Spain, Ceuta and Melilla. They are separated from mainland Spain by the Mediterranean Sea, yet they remain an official part of the Spanish nation. Their residents are Spanish citizens. Spanish laws apply. European institutions operate here. But step outside the city limits and you're immediately in another country. It's one of the most unusual borders on earth. So, how did two European cities end up on the African continent? To answer that question, we have to travel back more than 600 years to a time when kingdoms competed for control of the Mediterranean, and one bold decision would change the map forever. At first glance, Ceuta and Melilla don't seem extraordinary. Their streets are lined with Spanish cafes, government buildings, schools, and busy shopping districts. People speak Spanish, use the euro, and vote in Spain's national elections. In every legal sense, these are Spanish cities. Yet, geographically, they sit on the northern coast of Africa, completely surrounded by Morocco. To travel from mainland Spain to either city, you have to cross the Mediterranean Sea. That alone makes them one of the most unusual territories in the world. But the strangeness doesn't end there. These cities are also part of the European Union's external frontier, making them one of the few places where Europe and Africa meet face to face. Every day, thousands of people, vehicles, and goods move through these border crossings, connecting two continents separated by only a fence. For centuries, these gateways have been prized for one simple reason. Whoever controlled them could influence one of the world's busiest maritime routes, the narrow Strait of Gibraltar. That strategic location turned these small coastal cities into prizes that powerful kingdoms were willing to fight for. And the first European kingdom to seize that opportunity wasn't Spain, it was Portugal. More than 600 years ago, the Mediterranean wasn't just a sea, it was the world's busiest highway. Merchant ships carried gold, spices, silk, and other valuable goods between Africa, Europe, and Asia. The kingdom that controlled these trade routes could grow wealthy and powerful. Across the narrow Strait of Gibraltar, Portugal saw an opportunity. In 1415, Portuguese forces crossed the sea and captured the North African city of Ceuta. It wasn't simply a military victory. It marked the beginning of Europe's age of exploration. From this strategic port, Portugal hoped to control trade, expand its influence, and launch new voyages farther down Africa's Atlantic coast. Ceuta quickly became more than just another city. It became a gateway to new trade routes, a gateway to new discoveries, and a gateway to an era that would reshape the world. But history had another twist waiting. Decades later, Portugal and Spain would find themselves united under a single crown. And when that union finally came to an end, one city faced a choice that would change its future forever. Ceuta chose Spain. As the centuries passed, the world began to change. Across Africa, European empires that had once seemed unstoppable were beginning to disappear. One colony after another gained its independence, redrawing the political map of an entire continent. In 1956, Morocco joined that wave of change and regained its independence from French and Spanish rule. To many observers, the next chapter seemed obvious. Spain would leave North Africa, but it never happened. Ceuta and Melilla remained under Spanish control. The reason lies in one crucial distinction. Spain argued that these cities were not colonies. Unlike overseas territories governed from afar, Ceuta and Melilla had been integrated into Spain for centuries. Their residents were Spanish citizens. Spanish laws applied. Elections were held under the Spanish Constitution. From Madrid's perspective, giving them away would be no different from giving away any other Spanish city. Morocco saw the situation very differently. It argued that regardless of history, both cities stand on African soil and should one day return to Moroccan sovereignty. More than half a century later, neither side has changed its position, and that disagreement has transformed two small coastal cities into one of the world's longest running territorial disputes. Walk through the streets of Ceuta or Melilla today, and it's easy to forget you're standing in Africa. Spanish is the language you hear in cafes, schools, and government offices. The euro is the official currency. Residents vote in Spanish elections, carry Spanish passports, and enjoy the rights of European Union citizens. Yet only a few steps away, beyond the border, begins Morocco. It creates a fascinating blend of cultures, unlike almost anywhere else in the world. Churches stand alongside mosques. European architecture mixes with North African traditions. Markets are filled with flavors, languages, and customs from both continents. For many residents, this mixture isn't unusual. It's simply everyday life. But these cities are far more than cultural crossroads. They have also become one of Europe's most closely watched frontiers. Every year, thousands of people hoping to reach Europe arrive at these borders, making Ceuta and Melilla symbols of both opportunity and political challenge. Here, geography, history, and human lives meet every single day. And that raises another question. Why are these borders among the most heavily protected anywhere in the world? Standing at the border of Ceuta or Melilla, it's easy to forget that only a fence separates two continents. On one side lies Morocco, on the other, Spain, and with it, the European Union. These cities have become far more than historic territories. They are now one of Europe's most important frontiers. Every year, thousands of people attempt to reach Europe through these crossings, hoping for new opportunities or a safer future. That reality has transformed Ceuta and Melilla into places where history, geography, migration, and international politics all meet. Spain has invested heavily in border security, building sophisticated fencing systems, surveillance technology, and maintaining a continuous security presence. Spanish authorities say these measures are necessary to protect the European Union's external border while allowing legal travel and trade to continue. At the same time, cooperation between Spain and Morocco has become essential in managing one of the busiest and most closely watched borders in the world. What began as a medieval conquest has evolved into a modern geopolitical crossroads where decisions made centuries ago continue to influence the lives of millions today. And despite centuries of history, one question still remains unanswered. Will these cities always remain Spanish? For more than 6 centuries, Ceuta and Melilla have witnessed the rise and fall of empires. Kings and explorers have come and gone. Colonial empires have disappeared. Wars have reshaped continents. New nations have been born. Yet these two small cities have remained exactly where they have always been, on the northern edge of Africa, under the Spanish flag. Whether that will ever change remains uncertain. Spain continues to regard Ceuta and Melilla as an inseparable part of its national territory. Morocco continues to view them as cities that should one day return to Moroccan sovereignty. For now, the debate continues through diplomacy rather than conflict, reflecting the complexity of a history that neither geography nor time has fully resolved. Perhaps that's the real lesson hidden within these remarkable places. Borders are rarely just lines drawn on a map. They are stories. Stories of exploration, stories of ambition, stories of culture, stories of people whose lives have been shaped by decisions made hundreds of years before they were born. And sometimes, if you look closely enough, a single border can tell the story of an entire civilization, because every border has a story. And here at Beyond Borders by Sama, we'll keep discovering them together